don't know why churches or synagogues put front seats ever. They're always empty. We should start building from the back.
No, when,
Good morning.
when you can't hear so well, front seats are good.
Well, hopefully there is a system of being able to listen to.
Well, I don't know whether you can or not. I mean, it's.
Good morning.
Hello.
No one ever accused me of not being able to listen to me, to hear me. Some of them want to hear me less.
I want to hear you.
I think Chris should sit there.
What?
Chris, you should ask Chris to sit there.
Not sure. Ask a question.
I thought it was maybe
Wonderful. And you?
Good.
You took my chair.
No,
Chair,
I'll go
right,
get,
honey, right there.
I'll get one. You stay right there. Stay right
That's a honey chair.
there. Okay.
you could sit with us.
Yeah, she gets a little jealous.
Are you worried about me?
Yes.
Uh-oh.
He knew you didn't have to say.
Chris, we just by accident we moved the camera.
Oh, I hit it, I bet.
Yeah, you hit it. You did a good job.
Do I have time to run and get some coffee?
Please.
Thank you.
Was it my
Accidentally,
big
you're
foot?
still covered, but we got that whole nice
Oh,
podium
that's
thing going
nice.
on.
That's good.
Yeah,
Sorry, I shouldn't have walked in front of you.
it's fine.
Well, she's not feeling.
It's okay. Is it okay? Is it in you guys' way?
And he
No.
was like,
No.
"Sure, okay."
I'm fine.
Hi, dear.
We must scare those two young people that were there last week. They're not here anymore. Uh-oh. She walked into the glass.
They're going to.
Good morning. Good morning. Boker Tov. Boker Tov. Remember Boker Tov, the blessing in Hebrew. Good morning. Boker Tov. Tov.
Tov.
Tov is this feeling we have this morning. What a beautiful day. It's good. I need to start with apology because there is at 11:15 in that building that you can see from the window a funeral for a very close friend. His name is Gary Kaplan. Gary was a past president of Temple Israel, and his wife Sally Kaplan. And after some struggle, he died peacefully. And so I'm going to try to leave at 11:15 and make it. Isn't it wonderful that we are all together? I never thought that I will say this as a result of the distance, but we can actually visit each other with no obstacles, no challenges. We begin on the bottom of page 35. The bottom of page 35. If you don't have a document, please, it's on the table there.
Can I walk in front of the camera?
Please, it's fine.
There you
Sorry.
go.
The bottom of the page, where it says for the Jew, loud and clear.
Yes, sir. For the Jew, the stranger suggests a world to be lived in, to be enhanced or saved. One awaits the stranger. One welcomes him. One is grateful to him for his presence.
So we love the strangers. There's something in the life of the stranger that we appreciate. Why is that? What is it? What is in the stranger's life that is enticing, enhancing,
Experience that we haven't had.
experiences that we don't have? Beautiful. What else?
I lost my spot.
In addition to that, no, just like, what else? What else? Why strangers fascinate us? A chance for friendship, a different kind of friendship maybe. What else?
What was Abraham's greatness?
Wait, don't read yet. I got this wonderful moment of getting feedback, for God's sake.
What brings them to us?
Say it again?
What brings them to us?
Or the reason they suddenly approach us. What is the reason that, why are they there for us at that time? What else?
They're different.
They're different?
New foods.
Now I know.
Okay.
You'll be the first one on the line for the picnic. Yeah, great. But it's exotic. It's definitely different. We can discover what? We can discover through our relationship with them who we are. That's an important ingredient in the eliciting of that relationship. What else? We are bored with what we have. We're completely bored. I mean, how long you can attach yourself to a white, privileged individual? It's good to add some color. Yes, what else?
Don't they say familiarity breeds contempt?
Totally. Yes.
Well, God is in relationships, so why not have a relationship with a stranger?
Beautiful. There's a risk. There's some risk.
Yeah.
So what? All our life is one long risk-taking.
But other people add to me. I can learn and I can grow as I meet other people.
Yeah, absolutely. Because how can we grow from relationship to a stranger?
They've had different experiences than we
Different
have.
experiences, yeah.
Points of view.
What?
Points of view.
Points of view. Different values, basically we are all the same because we are all created in God's image. But that's the end of the similarity. They challenge our assumptions. We challenge theirs. One of the things that I'm hearing from the people in the mosque and the church and Temple Israel is how much that relationship with other people from a different faith community teaches them about who they are. By meeting someone, by having this stranger in our life, we become stronger in our set of beliefs. Hopefully. You'll see examples today. Oh, look at this. March of the magnificent others. Beautiful.
Goes our future.
And they are all strange.
It is our future, but guess what? We are also our future. Sometimes I think we look at those young people and forget what is the role that we can still play and still play. We're not done yet. Anyone is done here? Of course not. Okay. Continue, please.
For the Jew, the stranger suggests a world he lived in to be enhanced or saved. One awaits the stranger, one welcomes him, one is grateful to him for his presence.
Now we come back to Abraham. Listen carefully. Yes.
What was Abraham's greatness? He invited into his home all strangers, be they angels or fugitives, and made them feel welcome.
Rabbi Eliezer
The father of the
Besh.
became a father because of his hospitality toward unknown wanderers. In the Jewish tradition, the stranger may very well be someone important, a prophet in disguise, a hidden just, or even the Messiah. He is to be accepted for what he is, the way he is. Thus, we hope to receive a fragment of his secret knowledge, a spark of his flame, a key to his secret.
Wow. What a beautiful way of looking at a stranger. I mean, look how many messiahs we have in this room. Why not? Why not to assume that the person next to you around the table has a piece to a secret that can be important for you? That's how we should look at a stranger. Yes?
From the standpoint of a scientific psychologist, he identifies 4 F's for the stranger. You either fight, you flee, you friend, or you feed.
I love that.
Those 4. Now, those 4 options, and at the same time here, what Abraham is doing is he's dismissing the one that's so powerful, and that is to fight.
Fight.
So already he's pulled this one out.
Okay, so what are the 4 F's that you can do with a stranger? Fight,
Flee,
feed, befriend,
feed.
And befriend.
and what?
Flee.
Flee. He does the feeding, like a nice, good Jewish mother. He doesn't do anything about the cooking. He asks Sarah to do it, of course. Yeah. Also, it's an interesting meal that he offers those angels or fugitives. He really doesn't know who they are. They are there to tell him that he'll have a son. But he heard it so many times already, he doesn't believe them. Enough already. I'm like 99 and a half when I'm going to have a son. But the meal he prepares is an interesting dish. The recipe calls for milk and meat. Oh my God! Meat and milk, it's a no-no in Jewish tradition. So the rabbis suggest this was before the 10 Commandments were given. So he didn't know anything about it. So he's a kosher Jew. You see the struggle constantly to interpret every verse in the Bible to a place that makes sense for the Jewish existence. So he's forgiving them meat and milk. Oh yeah, continue please.
The question, therefore, is how should the contact exchange occur? What should the nature be? How am I to approach the stranger in his language or mine? On his level or mine? In other words, must I make an effort to resemble him so as to better discover him? The answer naturally is no, for that would mean accepting his terms. That would mean submission and defeat, leading finally to his dissolution, rather than affirmation of our identity.
Yeah. Oh, how do we approach the stranger? In a meek way? Are we completely surrender to what he wants or she wants or they believe? What should be the relationship at the contact moment? Wonderful, you're here. And I doubted you're coming, but I'm so invigorated now. Excellent, thank you. So what do I do? How is the few minutes of contact? What do we do with a stranger?
Shake hands.
Or shake hands? Is this enough? Are you kidding? Sit down next to me, let's talk. Well, it doesn't happen like this, but we're talking about going deeper into the relationship. There's more to the stranger that I would like to know, that I'm seeking. Hopefully that stranger is also capable of engaging with me about who am I? What am I for him or for her? Those are the kind of relationship that we seek. Why would I spend my time with people I don't know just around the plate of the food I share? I was always worried about the picnic engagement because we spend too much time on waiting for the food in line. More time needs to be spent in meeting the other. And please, let us not sit next to people we know. What's the point? It doesn't help. It doesn't help. We try to set up tables at Temple Israel sometimes on Friday night for a meal, and everyone goes back with their plate, to the place they feel comfortable. God forbid they will meet someone else. Yes.
I had a wonderful experience at one of the first picnics we had. I went over and sat by a couple of Muslim young women, and they said, "Ask me anything, just ask me anything." And we just had a wonderful conversation.
That's exactly where they are now. I mean, just to be asked, it's to acknowledge that you have a human being there that has a history, a treasure of life, that they would like to be asked about this. This is what we don't do well in America. We don't ask enough. Not only we don't ask enough, we keep them outside of the border. And we call them by the color of their skin. What kind of a reception is this in America in 2019? And what we do with separation of families from children? This has been the worst, I think, the worst year of experiencing those kind of things. Unbelievable, unimaginative. And then of course, they don't want you to take pictures. They don't allow you to speak with them in those camps that created for them. This is not a cattle, those are human beings. Where is the revolt? We're all going to go to New York to welcome the women's soccer team. Why can't we make out of it a big, big demonstration? Because that's what the women represent, those women. They have a chutzpah, especially the one with the color hair. I can't wait for her encounter with the president. Let's continue. The question before is,
The question, therefore, is how should the contact, the exchange occur?
yeah,
What should its nature be? Am I to approach the stranger in his language or mine? On his level or mine? In other words, must I make an effort to resemble him so I could better discover him? The answer naturally is no.
so this teaches us about how to relate to a stranger. They're not speaking, some of them they don't speak English. So what? Do we have to shut them out just because they don't speak English? There's a way of communicating without even speaking that is so warm and kind. How about that art? Yes.
Well, I think it's really important when you know you're going into a different culture to at least learn some of the words. When I go to Africa, I learned the basic hello, thank you, excuse me, that. But realizing that I can't talk with them and listen, most of all, I like to listen to what they have to say.
Beautiful.
I have to have an interpreter with me.
Yeah.
And that's a new experience for them, but it really opens up their ability to
share, to talk.
actually share and say, you really want to listen to me, not just talk at me. And I think that's true with Hispanic people, to know some of the basic words to just make them feel welcome.
Yeah. And there are so many vehicles now to learn some of the words. There's called constantly advertising on TV and other places. And of course, all of the examples on TV, they all speak fluently French. Hello? Okay, don't lie to me. It takes some time to do it. Okay. Continue with the next paragraph. Maybe you can share. It's from now.
Okay, for that would mean accepting his terms. That would mean submission and defeat, leading finally to dissolution, rather than affirmation of our identity.
Yeah, so this relationship needs to be carefully managed. Go on, next paragraph.
Now we realize that there is a man in precisely such a wish, one among many calling for this kind of end, this kind of death, a wish which pushes him to break with his surroundings, burn his bridges, deny his past and his experiences, both inherited and acquired. Plunge into the mass and go under, thus solving the problem of existence by putting an end to that existence. Or in simpler terms, become another. Live the life of another, the destiny of another. Assume the death of another. Die as a stranger, in order to forget pain, shame, guilt, and disappear, having in effect committed physical or spiritual suicide.
Okay, that's important to understand. What happens sometimes if the relationship is not successful? I mean, it is possible to convert. I mean, if I meet a stranger and that stranger uses force to make me convert or accept their way of life, what am I doing with myself? What happens to me?
You give up, disappear.
You give up, what?
You disappear.
You disappear. You're not in relationship with strangers. We cannot give up on who we are. Everyone needs to keep their existence, their identity separate. Being in relationship with stranger doesn't mean that I end up like him or her, or like their philosophy or not. And so this is important because there will be examples in a few minutes of Jews that went further than what they were allowed to do by accepting the other to the point of denying who they are. So in relationship with stranger, you don't submit who you are. You keep your identity, and that's where the relationship can be productive, can flower, can become meaningful. By the way, this is a wonderful advice for married couples. I mean, we're talking about the ultimate stranger is the husband or the wife we marry. Wow, we took such an amazing risk. But do I need to become her? I mean, it's so, that's why I don't like, I'm sorry, this is like a personal opinion. I don't like the candle ceremony in Christian marriages. Where, and usually the words are, oh, both candles melt, and now you light a new candle. There's no melting of who I am when I get married. Are you kidding? I'm going to be as stubborn and as a pain in the butt as I was before. Marriage is not marriage.
For the record, we don't do that anymore. We make them keep both candles lit.
Beautiful. You became Jewish. You finally learned. We have a whole different tradition with the candle, which is the bride and her mother surround the groom 7 times to make a statement to the community, it's mine, don't touch it. That's very helpful. But that's still a Jewish tradition about walking 7 times. And hopefully will happen to the groom what happened to Jericho. 7 times circling, remember? Okay. Yeah, I think this is really the first stranger that we met, all of us. I mean, those of us who are in relationship with a spouse, with a partner, that's the ultimate stranger. So what are we, and then we live with them for 7 years. Oh my God, how did we do it? If we are able to be in a happy, successful relationship like marriage, we can conquer any other stranger if we do it the right way. So again, it's not about submitting, not about being conquered by someone else, but keeping who you are and enjoying the gifts that the other person can offer in this relationship. You see, for us in Judaism, we know about angels. Actually, my thesis to get out of rabbinical school was Satan in rabbinic literature. People looked at me as crazy of taking this topic. But I discovered through the investigation about how many thousands of angels are mentioned in the Talmud. But those angels in the Talmud are just a literary device to enhance other teachings. We just don't believe in angels. We don't have angelology as well developed as other faith communities. For us, the angels are the people, are you. Because only other people in relationship can give us some gifts. And we need, it's like a jigsaw puzzle. Our lives, we are born never with all our pieces to our puzzle. By the way, we don't die with all the pieces assembled. If we die with 60% of the pieces, be happy. And so, where are the rest of the pieces to our puzzle? It's in the strangers that are holding it. For them, it's useless. For us, it can be important. And when a piece to our puzzle is added to our puzzle, this is the work of heaven. That's where the angels are people. Those 3 strangers that came to Abraham, it says people, it doesn't say angels. They had an announcement to make. By the way, Abraham didn't die with all the pieces to his puzzle. He's still searching for them. By the way, not all the pieces to the Tri-Faith Initiative were assembled now. Let's not fool ourselves. We have a lot more pieces to accumulate, to put together into this puzzle. And this is a complicated puzzle. But we're going to do it with the help of people that once upon a time were strangers and then become friends. Would you like to resume now the reading?
Yes, sir.
Not you.
My better half.
You better have.
The urge that may or may not be rooted in weakness.
Well, you have to do it a little bit louder.
The urge may or may not be rooted in weakness. Man may feel helpless to adjust to the image he has of himself, and so wish to adopt the image the stranger has of him. Ultimately, he may even try to resemble the stranger, or even the enemy.
So sometimes those kind of things happen, where we, in encountering the stranger, we become a stranger to ourselves. And we need to be careful of this. Go on, but then
it may also be related to a more positive passion, his need to renew himself, to replenish himself. He may leave his land, his home, his habits, in the hope that he, as an expatriate, he may have greater opportunities to rethink, reevaluate, and redefine his place and role under the sun.
yeah, so now that's what Abraham did. He left everything behind and started new in the new place he came. So this is something that can happen in the relationship with a stranger. That's how we need to monitor our journeys. I still constantly am at awe of how is it possible that at age 23, I decided to come to America to work in a Jewish summer camp, to have a camper in my cabin that had the same last name as mine. And one day their parents brought the sister who I married. How is it possible? I mean, I'm shivering now because it just, those are the kind of stories that are incredible. But then we have to be aware that it's happening to us. What is the purpose of this? What happened? What was in that journey that brought this camper to my cabin? Why wasn't he in a different cabin? And I will never meet him. And then, of course, I'll never get a good meal from his parents. When you're a counselor, you better enjoy those meals. So then what do you do with this knowledge that you receive? What do we do with the knowledge that we receive from the stranger? that is adding the piece to our puzzle? How do we acknowledge it? How do we celebrate it? By the way, sometimes those pieces are painful. This is why it's so hard to hear from friends. But those are the only ones we can hear about our faults. You want friend or you want acquaintance? What do you want? Yeah, someone that can look at your face and tell you exactly what's wrong with you. Why not? You take a chance. We all take chances all the time. Okay, now let's continue. And so, our hero, Abraham,
gets up one morning and without saying goodbye to anyone, disappears. He goes underground, joins a counterculture, or leaves for the unknown. He seeks out places and societies whose language he does not understand, whose laws are alien and bizarre, but those things don't frighten him. On the contrary, he wants not to understand, not to know. For what he knows he does not like, and what he understands he does not accept. He has chosen exile so as to become someone else, a stranger, and thus to discover a new expression of truth, a new way of assuming the human condition in its ever-changing form.
so who are we here on the ground of the Tri-Faith Initiative? How do we started all this? As complete strangers. Well, we had relationship before, but look at the risk we took. By the way, there's no way out. We have a building now. Once we build a building, we made a commitment for this relationship. Who has regrets? Who is brave enough to tell us that they have regrets? This is exactly what Abraham did. Each of us is Abraham. That's why I decided to have this article to introduce us to who we are. Each one of us is in a way Abraham. Yeah, there is a board that made decision, but we didn't have to follow the board decision. We can always leave and go to another church. Thank God there are so many churches in Omaha, Nebraska. No one is forcing you to stay here. Why are you staying here? Why you committed yourself to this relationship with complete strangers? No, I just salute you for doing it. I didn't expect an answer now. Yes?
It's kind of like just like you met your wife at the camp. It's like we met. We met and experienced that same enrichment.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah. I mean, what happened to the Episcopalians, for God's sake, that allowed you to become the partner? I mean, there's all kind of questions we can ask. How pieces of the puzzle of the Tri-Faith Initiative was put together. It's unbelievable. One day we'll have time to write the history. Who cares now? I don't have time to write anything now. What?
I said, let's just enjoy it.
And acknowledge it, definitely. And thank God for that. Yeah, God needs to be brought into this conversation. Without God, nothing will happen. Really. Around the table were people that had deep understanding and feeling and faith that conquer all the rest of the strangeness in those early meetings. It's amazing how things fell into place. The movie is coming after the book. But that's what he did. He got up one morning, left, didn't tell Sarah that he's leaving. She came a little bit later, I'm sure. He sent for her. And that's what he did. In one early morning, he left home. He left Ur Kasdim. He went to Haran. He went to a new place, completely not knowing what to expect. Go on, please continue.
That is why he is on the run, always refusing to stay in the same place with the same people for long. He wanders to do away with his belongings, rather than add to their weight.
Yeah, you see the change of the letters. He got a special H. An H in Hebrew is the abbreviation of God's name. Avraham. He was Avram, and then he got the special additional letter, which happened, by the way, to Sarah, who became Sarai. Yud. When I was thinking about names for my children, I wanted to have a letter that represents God in their name. So I called my daughter Leora, which means light unto me, and it has an hey. So I gave her the stamp of God. She didn't know when she was a baby. Later in life, I explained to them. And then I called my son Yaniv. Yaniv has two Yuds. Two Yuds in Hebrew means the name of God. So that's what you do with name giving. You don't give your children names of soap opera heroes that years later you forget where the name came from. You give them names with meaning. You give them names that represent lineage, tradition. Junior works. You know. Junior, yeah. Go on, please continue.
Moses left the royal palace and became a unique leader in Israel.
You remember what happened to Moses? Moses was in the palace, had the best of the world, but he left. He ran away. Go on.
Later, much later, mystics chose exile to achieve anonymity. Easy for me to say. The distant masters became
Navanadnik. Navanadnik in Hebrew is a wanderer. Remember what the curse to Cain was after he killed his brother. What was the curse? That there will be a sign on him, but he will be what? No one is allowed to kill him, but he will be always a wanderer. This is the destiny of the Jew. We knew in the beginning, thousands of years ago, that we're going to follow the map of Abraham, that we will never be accepted in any place. We never thought that this will be our lot in America. But I have to tell you, the number of anti-Semitic incidents in America has risen 100%. Swastikas on grave sites, the shooting of synagogues. So we are back where we started with Abraham, all of us. I mentioned to you that we always sleep with one eye open in case someone is knocking on the door. But this is the destiny of all of us in a way. We think that we're sitting under the fig and under the vine. Yeah, really? For how long? A few minutes? And then everything changes? We learn how to absorb and accept the changes. It's not easy. We need to educate a whole new generation now that it is possible this will be part of their lot. There are good people on both sides. Oh my God, what are you talking about? What sides? The moment you say two sides, it already shows that there is no relationship between the strangers. You're supposed to be the president. You're supposed to bring us to become one, not this one. God help him. And all of us at the same time. So now he's going to bring some examples of people from the Jewish community from history, that what happened to them is they decided to become the other in the relationship with a stranger. Instead of me being a Jew, celebrating the fact that I'm Jew, I'm going to become a Christian. And so here is the example of people that decided to become strangers to themselves. Who are those people? Philo of Alexandria, Josephus Flavius, Spinoza, Otto Winiger. He was an Austrian philosopher who committed suicide at 23. He was a Jew. All of those names are Jews that converted to Christianity in order to understand the stranger. But this was not required of them. You don't just convert and assimilate in someone else's history, philosophy. And then you have the Heine, of course, the poet. And then Bergson. Bergson was an interesting character. Again, a Jew. Some of his writings became the cornerstone of the Nazi philosophy, the Nazi identity. He lived between 1859 and 1945, 43. He got a Nobel Prize on literature because of his writing. But his writing did not have anything to do with the identity he was born into. So those are just warnings on the part of the Elie Wiesel of how important it is. Sorry for looking from time to time at the watch to see where I am. I don't know where I am. So the warning that Elie Wiesel is giving us is that don't expect the stranger you meet to become you. Allow them to what? To do what?
Be themselves.
To be themselves. There's a lot of work on the part of some faith communities in trying to change them, to make them different, to make them us. That's not the goal in meeting a stranger. Yes?
It's really interesting that Wiesel cites these particular figures. Spinoza really is still a mystery for both of all faiths in my mind. And Bergson is a Frenchman who wrote specifically for the females.
He emphasized in his work the intuition
Yes,
versus the science.
yes.
And so that was his work, that he based the philosophy of the moment rather than other aspects.
And that was very popular in when he was first writing from the women who were striving for freedom, and got lots of attention in the city of New York as well. He's an early existentialist, but what makes him so important yet today is that he enhances the what you call intuition as a element of the uniqueness of each human.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And very well recognized. People are still reading his work. But again, all of the people I mentioned are all Jewish that went to the other side. Well, it doesn't have to, I'm sure it wasn't a dark side for them when they do it. But this is how we know. That's part of our history. When we study Jewish history, we definitely pay attention to those that left us. Is there resentment? No, because all of those that left brought other beautiful work of art and literature and philosophy and psychology to the world. Maybe they were able to do it just because they were able to move one step ahead and needed completely to break the relationship that they had with their own people in order to get to the other side. It was very seducing. Guys, I mean, I can confess now that if I was living in some other periods of time, I would not stay Jewish. Rabbi, how can you say? Well, if I had to save my life, I would eat pork. I just had to give this example. By the way, the Nazis knew that. And so what are the pictures from the concentration camps? There are pictures of Nazis cutting the beards of Jews and then feeding them pork to humiliate them. Yes?
I just finished reading The Source, James Mitchell's The Source,
Oh.
which is, anyway, talk about the Crusades, the Inquisition.
All of the
time
history.
after time, the conversion of Jews to Christianity and forced to save their lives and, reverse circumcision. I've never heard of that, but it talks the story of that.
Yeah. There is a amazing movie at this moment that there is this reverse circumcision in a concentration camp, because that's how they humiliated them, by
Sure. And eating pork and blood.
parading them naked.
Yeah.
You can also understand how Elie Wiesel is capable of writing all this. I mean, he is one of those eyewitnesses that experience all the ugliness of meeting strangers. Also, the positive stuff. That's why he's offering here a recipe of how to deal with strangers. So how is this helping you? Is this recipe going to work for you? What will be the next encounter with a stranger? From the church, the mosque, the temple? How would you take that relationship in a different angle? Something that you never thought about doing, but now as a result of reading this, maybe you selected another path. Feedback. Yes.
I think for me, it gives us permission to experience the other more fully and enjoy, be curious and caring without necessarily feeling like there's pressure to change anybody. And that's very freeing. That's very freeing.
Absolutely. Beautiful. Beautiful. So instead of worrying about how to change the other, make sure you don't change yourself. Stay who you are. I mean, if you're bigoted, try to be someone else. When the last day before ordination in Cincinnati, there was a tradition of our history professor inviting all of us. At that time, we were all boys. That was before we had women involved. Thank God we have women involved. And he came to us and said, listen, I want to give you one advice. Try to be who you are, but if you're a schmuck, try to be someone else. You know what? A beautiful advice for people who are graduating to become rabbis. Because we tend to have such egos, such difficulty in dealing with ourselves. That's why I love retirement. There's nothing better for a clergy than retirement, as soon as possible.
But some schmucks don't know they're schmucks.
Well, I'm okay with it. Yes?
The young lady on the other side of the room.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, please.
Oh, it's okay. I just think that I've learned that it's, usually I try to change myself a little bit to make people more comfortable. So it's, if I meet somebody, I don't necessarily have to do something to myself to make them accept me more. I can just be me and accept them and hope that they accept me for who I am.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Well, how old are you? 60?
I'm
It took some of us 6 years to get to where you are. And we're still working on this. We're all work in progress. You're okay. You're here. That already shows me where you are.
Thank you.
Any other feedback?
I
Yeah.
think that as we look at the horrible way we're treating immigrants and our whole reaction as a country, that we also need to look at the fact that worldwide, this is the 21st century issue.
Oh my God, totally.
Migration is at a all-time high.
Refugees.
Yeah, refugees, and inclined, it's going to get worse in climate change. There's so many, between the climate itself and the economic consequences, who's not going to be a refugee or who might not? Any of us could become, that our different lands become available, and as a race, as a whole humanity, we better figure out how to do
Totally. And I think he is the right prophet to suggest the work. By the way, that's not to include all the people who are refugees from God. When are we going to talk about that? What about not being with God and being in a dark place? I mean, that's immigration from God. That's a huge topic that we need to spend time talking about it. How do we come back? I think those people that 12 years ago sat around in a library and talk about a tri-faith, all of us felt estranged from God. I mean, at the core of this experiment, that I know it will be successful, so I have to change the word from experiment to something else. I'm open for any other suggestions. Reality. Adventure. Beautiful. At the basic of the initiative is the difficulty of being sometimes alienated from the one source that needs to unite all of us. We felt like Abraham. It was time to move. We were not happy with just the beautiful existence of Temple Israel by ourselves. It wasn't enough. In order to discover who we are, we needed to find strangers that will have the same kind of desire, the same kind of movement. That's what it is, yes.
Well, you asked the question, you know, why did we want to join? Personally, during our discernment, when I started hearing the history of you decided as a group to practice the second commandment, and I was just, oh, yes. So how often does that happen? As a real intention, and that's what attracted me to this whole thing was, you mean actually practice this? So we're coming together as strangers on that basis.
Well, a few more commandments we try to observe.
Well, I know,
Yeah.
but that was like
Beautiful.
the first thing
Beautiful.
that attracted me, because during the discernment, listening to, you know, what you were saying and the Iman and everybody, it was like, oh, this is just amazing. This is an actual intentional change, which is what you just said, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Yes.
I understand how you would have felt alienated from some other people who might be disagreeing, but tell me more about why you felt alienated from God.
Well, I grew up in Israel. In Israel, you have a land that keeps you Jewish. So it was more the Zionist part, the movement of self-definition of who I am. And God was not an ingredient that I experienced in Israel. I had to come to America to become a Jew. I know it sounds strange, but here you have to, here because there is no holiness, and maybe I'll say something outrageous now. I don't feel America has the same level of holiness as the Holy Land. There's something in the Holy Land that eases the ability on the part of individuals, may it be Muslim, Christian, or Jewish, to be Jewish. The land keeps you. You come here and I needed to experience getting here to discover the other pieces that were missing from my early life. So at age 23, I discovered God. It was an amazing discovery. And thank God, God is still with me. Well, there are moments that we all have doubts. But so what? You need to go through the struggle. But that's enough about me. You don't want to hear about me, yeah, please.
You know, with the tri-faith, I look at it as we're now walking the journey to God together. We're walking
Beautiful. The journey of Abraham. We are just repeating now the journey of Abraham, step by step. But we have cars. We don't use camels. That's the only difference. But the personal journey is the same. Let's continue. What went wrong? I need another reader, maybe. Yes, we have a reader. Thank you.
What went wrong?
No. I just bestowed the reading on someone else. I'm giving you some break, a relief. Please.
What went wrong? They resisted poorly the stranger's temptation.
Okay, what went wrong with those people that were mentioned there, the 5 individuals on the paragraph before? What was wrong is that they resisted poorly the temptations of the other. They got seduced, enticed by what? Why is it so amazing to join another culture, another group of people? Why?
Be accepted.
Yeah, they wanted to be accepted. The only way the Jew was able to get to the top of the tower of philosophy in Germany was to become a Christian. There was no other way to be accepted. They resisted poorly who they were. By the way, you'll be surprised how many Jews, when they came to America, changed their names. How can you get a job as a lawyer if your name is Goldberg? I'm talking about 50 years ago. How can you be accepted if you have quotas in universities for how many Jews they can accept? What do? By the way, I have good news for you. No one changes their name now. No one. Well, we'll see for how long. You see, that's what a Jew does. He makes a statement of positive, and then immediately I introduce the possibility for the negative. That's how I grew up. Yes?
I have new neighbors that are Chinese, and the mother and father speak English, and the grandmother and the grandfather do not. And I was speaking with Pam, the daughter of the daughter, and she has they have 2 children. And I asked their names, and she said Jason and Jerry. And I said to her, you use Western names? Kind of with a question, and she said, yes, we're legally going to change their names from their Chinese name to these names because people here will not know how to say their names. So
or people here will not accept us.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
so you have.
She might have been saying that, but did not say it.
Yeah, because she doesn't want to be vulnerable.
So my response to her was, I think you should expect us to learn how to say your children's names.
Beautiful.
In Chinese, and she wasn't quite understanding me. I said, I think it's really important. And she said, you mean like being respectful to us? And I said, absolutely.
Excellent conversation.
Yes.
Wow. What are you going to do with this relationship now?
Oh, it's growing.
You have a lot of work to do.
Yes.
A lot of work. Excellent. Are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Beautiful.
I've been wanting to read them for a while.
Fantastic. By the way, when we gave Leora the name Leora, it took a few years for her to like her name. She didn't know why she got this name after many explanations. And then she was bused to Conestoga. And that busing is the best thing that happened, because she met girls with such amazing names. She came back one day from the bus and said, oh, I love my name. I love my name. So busing is not always bad. You never know what you can learn. Okay, so let's continue, please.
They forgot that we are supposed and indeed commanded to love the stranger as long as he fulfills his role, meaning as long as his mystery challenges our certainties and forces us to re-examine our own values, our own sincerity, as long as the stranger represents the question. But if and when he attempts to force his answers upon us, he must be opposed.
Wow. So what is the relationship with a stranger? He's there or she's there to cause us to ask questions. That's what you did with the Chinese names.
It was a big risk. It was a big risk for
Why?
me to do that.
Why was it a
Because
risk?
I did not know them.
So what?
And that's right, that was my next thought, so, but it was, initially, and then it just, of course, came out of my mouth, because I do what I think is right, rather than what I think is,
Beautiful. It worked.
yeah,
Yeah, and the worst that can happen is what?
not much.
I mean, the worst that can happen is it's not your business, and you walk away. But it did not happen. It doesn't happen because you had the warmth and the comfort of asking the question. But the strangers need to be carefully addressed. If someone wants then to assimilate you in their life, in their values, the stranger is then there to offer you the piece to your puzzle and to ask questions so you can become wiser and smarter as a result of the question. Now, you cannot imagine how many more Chinese meals you're going to have with them. No, but this is the beginning. And you have to report to us every Monday what's happening with that experience. Anyone can share other experiences similar to this? Or maybe negative? Any other experiences? Yes.
After I retired, I went into a Vietnamese restaurant and was talking to the young man who brought the food out, and I asked if he had relatives who went to Lewis and Clark where I taught, because we had a lot of Vietnamese, and he said, "Speak again more slowly, please." So I said it again, and he said, "I understand. You are teacher. I need teacher." And so I told his sister, who spoke better English, how to have him get to my house. And I've had Vietnamese coming to my house ever since, helping with English.
So you can recommend all the great restaurants.
I've been to their funerals, their weddings, been in their homes for celebration. It's just expanded my life.
Beautiful, beautiful story. Yes?
I don't have an experience, Rabbi, but I have a question. In the same way that we know people who are born with genitalia or a sexual orientation that says, I look male and have decided that after much soul searching that I'm female, or I was born in a family assuming that I was straight and now I know I'm gay. Isn't it possible as people walk their faith journey that they're born into one tradition and then in the Joseph Campbell sense of following their bliss and their soul, they realize they were born Christian but they're really Buddhist, or they were born Hindu and they realize they're really Jewish?
Yeah, I mean, this is part of the work. I experienced all this in the work as a rabbi. I will have people that will come to me discovering some documents about their family when a parent died, or both of them were gone, and were actually on Saturday morning, I meet this man, and he discovered only when his father died at age 70 that all of them were Jewish. And no one told him until the father died. So those stories happen in life.
But isn't it possible that Spinoza and Josephus and some
We're supposed to be
that they,
the other.
Yeah, that as they were born Jewish, but as they followed their life and their soul and their thinking, that maybe this was a positive?
That's a very kind reading of their lives. No. I like this. It's let me explore this a little bit in my mind. I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet. But I see your point. Actually, according to tradition, God is the one that gives us the breath of life. And so who knows what breath God gives us at that moment. Yeah, interesting. I don't feel any anger at any of the people that was mentioned here. I'm actually excited about reading some of their text because I love the text that they produce. There is a little bit of a sadness still in my heart knowing that those people who are amazing thinkers left Judaism in order to make it, and the journey that happened was not as pleasant. And so this is something, I feel responsible for all those people. They're part of who I am. Do I support people in the Jewish community that will convert to Christianity? Do I understand why they do this? Yeah. Some of them do it for a happy marriage. Some of them maybe saw the light. We don't have a lot of people that convert outside of Judaism. We like the misery of being Jewish. Yes?
I would come out in favor of what your remark applies to as well. Both Spinoza and Bergson were spokespeople for a contrary view. And Bergson in particular argued for the idea of subjectivity. Now, subjectivity basically means centering upon yourself, centering upon how you think and feel. And the thinking and feeling that Bergson brought out was very, very viable and feasible for liberated women in the early 1900s. And what is happening now, finally, in our society is the neuroscientists are finally recognizing that there is a subjective side that is more viable than the so-called objective side. Now, if this makes sense, if you think of the objective side, the objective is always an object. It's something that we sense. At the same time, the subjective side is always a feeling. Now, it is the feeling that is, in my mind, so absent in our society today in reference to the refugees. We've lost that sense of empathy, and we've lost that sense of connectedness to suffering. And it was the women that, on the feminine side of people like Spinoza, and in particular Bergson, that began to illuminate this. And now finally neuroscience is taking a much closer look at this. And in particular, neuroscientist that I advocate all of us to read is Anthony Damasio. He has a new book called The Strange Order of Things. And he and his wife Hannah have been writing works on neuroscience now for about the last 30 years. That's my lecture.
No, it was amazing because actually Spinoza is what, in a way, brought liberal Judaism into existence. So I definitely can recognize their impact. I mean, I am a Jew that is 5,000 years old. I can't just concentrate on those people and not see the impact of those people on our society, on who I am. Spinoza, for example, was excommunicated after what he did from the Jewish community. I'm sure if we put again that trial now, I think that he will definitely not be excommunicated because of the contribution of his work on all of us. We are very different. Yeah, so I'm almost there. I just feel that maybe there was another way of doing what they did. Maybe there was a way of still staying, although if there was a death threat to their lives and works, I mean, who am I to be in their shoes? Yeah, give me a few more days. Yes?
Sometimes I wonder, at least for myself, if it's easier for me are strangers too. And it's creating spaces where we can have conversations with Black people to understand what it's like for them to live in this country, because I think it's a whole different world. I think how Blacks experience the United States certainly is completely different than it is for me.
So what do you want to do about it?
I don't know what to do about it. I mean, I don't know what to do about it.
Chris, we need to talk about this.
Have a really wonderful friend. She and I worked together for 20 years, and I love her. She's Black, and so she and I have, we have conversations. But that's just with Marie. There's a whole, and I know people want Black people to come out here to come to church. It's really far for them. I don't know if they would want us to come to their church. I don't know how to do it.
So Jews have the same challenge. So for a while we did Black-Jewish dialogue downtown in one of the offices, law offices. And then we did Passover together, which was amazing. Because there's so much in common between Blacks and Jews when it comes to Passover and redemption and freedom and slavery. So that's how we created the relationship, on a religious celebration of a holiday that has a way of attracting both communities together. But it wasn't for the whole Black community in Omaha. It was, for maybe 30, 40 people. We had Passover. It's hard to feed 5 people for Passover. But I think we need to find definitely a common thread, and on that ground to bring everyone here. Chris, what shall we do with this?
Well, Mary Jo is the person that's working with a small group that we have going here at Countryside on Black Lives Matter and Black history and all that. We're in constant conversation with First United Methodist as a partner who has been working with the Trinity annual conference that they do every year, where they started a conversation on race. And we have speakers from Center for Faith Studies that come out and speak to that all the time. So we're always working on that, but it's something that takes an ongoing, intentional effort all the time. Mary Jo?
Yeah.
Start by going to North Omaha. Go to the North Omaha businesses. Emery's Cafe is awesome, so is Big Mama's. Just go.
Totally.
Just be there. And I've always, always been welcome at church services, every time. Claire Methodist also once a month, about once a month, has been having.
So there are other examples here of things you can.
And the community covered here,
Yeah.
a lot of the volunteers are Blacks. And, so we visit and have conversation in that setting too, but I would.
Well, you'll never be able to meet the entire Black community in the world.
No, I know that, but I think there's a gulf there. And I don't
For sure,
think-
for sure.
I don't, to be really honest with you, and it sounds.
Oh, no, try to lie. Maybe lying is better, yeah.
I don't know if Black people want to have a relationship with us. Why would they?
Because of this article. I mean, sooner or later, we all have to have relationships. Hopefully there's a desire on their part. All of them? No, I don't know. I mean, it's something we need to work. It's a good question.
Well,
What about going to the Black community asking, you guys want to know who we are? Maybe you'll hear the truth.
Marie, my good friend, her family has been angry with her for having a white friend like me that she confronts. She has faced a backlash due to the
sure.
that she shares too much with me. And so I think it's complicated.
But it's complicated, but you were there already. Continue that relationship. Why are you complaining? None of us have that relationship.
I'm
No,
not
no, 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 no. I'm just, there was a, just to wake you up. You're okay. You have more than all of us have, maybe, in relationship to a black person. Celebrate what you have. Yeah, that's, yes.
Could I have the prayers of the group for, I had an interaction with some white women at my wellness center, and just this morning I heard a conversation where they were talking with the immigrants. What are they complaining about? They didn't have it any better where they came from. And I heard that conversation.
But this came straight from the mouth of the president, who said, why are they complaining in those camps? This is the best life we offer them. That's the president. Those women are repeating what he says.
But where do I go with that?
Yeah. Where do you go with this? Move to another J. I mean, sometimes, guys, sometimes we need to stand up and walk away from some of those conversations on little martinis with olive pits. You know, it's so interesting that from time to time I will be in places where my people were there, and they're all next to the bar, and oh, the rabbi is here. Let's tell him a racist joke. And I walked away, and as a result of this, I broke relationship with people, because we need to make a stand when you hear those kind of things. This is not the way I want to hear those kind of things. We need to be educated, we need to fight back, and we need to walk away. We have not walked away enough from those kind of gatherings that were completely about bigotry, because we wanted them to be our friends. Why? Why would you like to? By the way, they try now, some of my people try now. Oh, you're retired, we can tell jokes. No, you can. You can. Just because I'm retired, I don't want to hear any of the shit that you are laying on me.
Birthday